Dear Recruiter Life Applications Officer. Okay. Um, I wasn't going to do another part. I guess this would be what, part 5? I wasn't going to do this, but it came to me today. Came to me. Um, First of all, I was at work and a brother, a military, coworker of mine, we were talking. We did a lot of talking today, being it was a dead day, and um go around and do our rounds and make sure everybody's safe. We got eyes on everything. We got eyes on the prize. So we're just, spending some time talking. And he said two things, but they weren't in contradictory order. He said that um, he talked about white people, and he talked about how some white people are always trying to um, tattletale on blacks or make blacks look um, bad, snitch on blacks, and you know, um, because there's white people that we have to work with that I don't know, maybe they feel that too many black people work here. I don't know, but um, they he he said some things along the lines of black or white stereotyping blacks, um, and treating us, a certain way. I'm not feeling it, I'm not catching it, but I can understand. Then he also talked about how a lot of black folks, and this is, and I hope you don't think this is me, because it's not. But he talked about how a lot of black folks they want to be white. They 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 have this problem of trusting and being comfortable with blacks when they're black themselves, but they think everything white is innocent. um and I told him, I says, well, sometimes that's obvious, that's asked for, that's necessary. I myself, um I know the difference between, the difference with me is I know the difference between black people that are, I hate to say this, but the better of their own people, and black folks that are too much like the kind of black folks I want to get away from, that I want to stay away from. Okay, I know both. And he's one of them. The guy I was talking to today, he's one of them kind of black people that, you know, and he went on to talk about how, he's not going to let other black people put him in predicaments to where, what I'm saying, like I've said in other videos, you're not going to get me to keep anything on a down low. There shouldn't be nothing to keep on the down low, you know, and all like that. He said, if you want to call me a snitch, if you want to call me a Uncle Tom, go right ahead. I know who I am, and me and him were bravo. It's like, I don't even think he's a conservative, but we was on the same page with this. Um, and that was with him. And some of the things I agreed with him about, and some of the things I didn't agree with him about, because I think that you need to investigate and be patient and make sure you got your facts straight. But most of it, it was right on. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. He said it. I didn't. Like, I don't have to say it. Other people are saying this. Okay. But we do disagree with the, like what I said in the last video about the numbers as far as crime goes. And he thinks that you can look at the numbers from certain sources, regardless of what other sources say. And it doesn't matter what you see when you walk outside your door. I match up the numbers with what I see outside my door every day. When I go downtown, and me and the guy just got done talking about how crazy Pittsburgh is. Okay, it's getting anyway. I've had that with probably about that discussion with two black people today, two white people, and then this knucklehead. I'm gonna talk about him in a second. Um, all you gotta do is walk outside your front door and pay attention to who acts like what. So, anyway, let me get to this knucklehead. I wasn't gonna do another video, but he asked for it. Okay. I get on the bus after missing it twice because I lost my phone today, and when somebody found it, the screen was cracked. So I had to go get a new screen and new case and everything. Um, and when my work was over, and I was supposed to call and make an appointment to get my hearing aids checked. That didn't happen. Last night, my bathtub flooded, bad piping or something, and it, you know, just overnight, I go, I'm out here and taking a nap, and then I go in my bathroom, and my tub is filling up with water all by itself. No water running or nothing. It's filling up with sewage all by itself. Um, so I called maintenance, and I'm still pissed about that. They came and fixed it finally, but they never ever called me. They never told me when they was coming. The people that I called to put in the maintenance order, they kept getting, you know, they not only speak English very well, they don't hear English very well. I didn't say nothing about no daggone heater. I told them my bathtub is filling up with sewage. I guess they was trying to interpret that. They thought I was speaking another language or speaking in Ebonics or something. When I told them my bathtub is filling up with sewage. Okay, and I don't know where it's coming from because I'm able to run water in my kitchen, in which it's running straight into the tub. Okay, I'm able to flush my toilet. I'm able to use my bathroom sink, but you turn on the water, it's coming into the tub and filling up the tub with sewage. So I don't know if these guys even fixed the problem or if the mess went down by itself. And boy, did I have a mess to clean up when I just got home. But they never communicated with me. They never called me or text me or or let me know that they were finished or that they need to continue or they'll be back tomorrow or whatever. I come here and I got all this mess to clean up. Okay. And still no communication with them. And this is not the only time. I'm going to have a talk with the property manager and I will call her and call her and call her. Okay. Until the rapture comes if I have to. Okay, because I want to talk to her and let her know this BS right here was unacceptable. Even though they might have fixed the problem, if they fixed it at all, they fixed the problem. Maybe they did, but the way they handled it and had me stuck here all night, wondering if my tub was gonna overflow into my living room, okay, was unacceptable. And then even today, after I, called the company back and, you know, asked them what's going on with my apartment. Are they done? Or are they going to let me know what do? Is there some steps I need to follow? What's going on? They won't communicate with me. And that's another video, but I don't do videos like that. So there you have it. Okay, I got bigger problems than black people. These folks are Indian. Okay, I think I got bigger problems than black people. I got bigger problems than white people. Okay. Um, but my friend at work today, me and him had a long talk about some things, and on and off. It's not like we sit there and just talk all day, but on and off. It's up to the point to where when I come back in, we got to finish where we left off. And then this knucklehead. Let's talk about this knucklehead, this bus driver. I get on the bus. I got my, I wear hearing aids. I got my Bluetooth screaming on my phone, streaming on my phone. And I hear some loud talking in the background. I'm the only one on the bus, you know. But he didn't care if 100 people got on the bus and 100 people of every race. He was going to keep on with his, wait till you hear this. And so I'm sitting there and I hear this loud talking in the background. So I'm thinking, I thought I was on this bus alone. So I look behind me and then I look up at the bus driver because no, there's nobody on the bus with me. I says, "Sir, you talking to me?" He says, "Yes, sir." So, I wear hearing aids, so I didn't, and I don't like screaming back and forth. I don't like a screaming match. So I went up front to the bus driver and he starts talking about, the other officers that were involved in the George Floyd case. They might get off because the police don't feel that they did anything wrong. They were only following their commander or whatever, and he made an argument the minute he called me up there. And I says, I'm not saying that they shouldn't be get some kind of punishment or whatever, but I says in my experience as a security officer and dealing with police, and dealing with, different levels of security and all like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't want to turn something that's going on with a suspect into, war between, a sergeant or a lieutenant and his employees, okay? His officers, And, you know, and he was like, very argumentative. And then he went into, preaching about riots. And I says, well, um, and then he started talking about Kyle Rittenhouse. And I'm like, oh, but we agreed on one thing. Kyle Rittenhouse didn't need to be there. I don't care how much, you know, whether they be white folks or conservative folks or whatever. I don't care how much they put Rittenhouse in there and call him a hero. And I don't care, his father wasn't out there. His father wasn't dumb enough to be there. Kyle Rittenhouse shouldn't have been dumb enough to be there. And you know what? They might make a hero out of him, but guess what? When he goes home and he sits across the table from his dad's going to tell him, don't ever do that again. You know, I mean, there was no reason for him to be there. Why would you go somewhere where black folks, you know, but, why would you go somewhere where black folks or getting ready to get wild and start, hating and putting their hands on people or something like that? And then he went off the deep end with the story because from what I understand, the two men that got shot were white. Maybe a black dude and a white dude on a skateboard was white. Talk to me, people. And maybe a black person threw something at him or something, but there were no black victims, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. There were no black victims with this Kyle Rittenhouse thing, but he, you know, And we agreed, though, that he shouldn't have been there. He didn't need to be there. But like I told him, to me, in my opinion, nobody should have been there. And, he hated the fact that I told him that finally, after, him going on and on and on about Kyle Rittenhouse and our people in America, and I told him, I says, well, look, guy, I know what you make an hour. You got a good job. You make more money than me. You got a good job, and you know what I'm saying? Do you think you would be driving this bus? Um, if we were still living in Jim Crow's time, or if racism was in control. Yeah, there's racism, but racism isn't in control. If racism was in control of things, do you think you'd be driving this bus? No, you wouldn't, because I know. He tried to tell me it's always, we've always, white people never, bullshit. Excuse my friends, that's bullshit. If if all the faculty of a corporation are white, and they pay a black man the same amount of money that they pay a white man. And I've never been in those shoes, but I remember the testimonies of people that had to go through it. I know an old man that came down here from the South to get better jobs. Because in the South, when they started paying black folks around the same amount of money that they were paying white folks, black folks were not allowed to drive bulldozers. They would not train you to drive a bulldozer in the South. They would not train you to drive a forklift, a bulldozer, any kind of city equipment, shovels, none of that stuff. Okay, and we're talking only 40, 50 years ago or less. And I talked about times have changed. He got angry. And I knew, you talking to the wrong man, because I'm going to piss you off. Because I'm going to tell you the way it is. But you go to Port Authority today, they got black people in every level of business. You got black people in sales of these companies. You got black CEOs, okay? You know what I'm saying? They're trying to even the balance with everybody. And it's a fact. Like I said in the last video, you go to these big corporations, like the corporation that he's in is Port Authority. Okay? You know how many black people work for Port Authority? Lots. These guys are making the same wages as the white guys are making. So where's the racism? Where's the racism? Oh, I'm not talking about racism. I'm saying our people, our people, our people. Listen, finally, this is where I really pissed them off. I said, I don't wake up every day and worry about the color of my skin, because that's not real. That doesn't really apply here. Okay? I worry about the ground I'm standing on. What is this? America. Here we go again. This is America. Okay? This is not about my black behind. This is about whites, blacks, Indians. You know what I'm saying? And I asked them the very thing that I've been saying in these videos. And you want to talk about somebody getting confused. I says, I don't believe that. I believe it's bigger than racism. I don't believe that. I says, when people are racist, they're racist against everybody. He says, you're correct. I says, okay, how come Indians ain't getting shot? Okay, well, Indians ain't on the street. Indians ain't speeding. There you go. How come the Native Americans ain't getting shot? How come, you know what I'm saying? Is it really about race? Because most people that don't like me, they don't like anybody that ain't white. Okay? I've met these white people that they got names for every race in America that ain't white. And when I walk out of the room, they got a name for me. I've caught them in the act. Okay? So again, is it about race or is it bigger than that? Because I said black people have a debt to this country. Okay? How the heck do people from third world countries that got ghettos and crime and everything else come here to the United States and they looking at us like, what the heck is wrong with these black people? And what do? They go after the money. There's just as many Indian Arab guys out there that got businesses as there is white people that have businesses. There's just as many Asians out there owning businesses as white people own businesses. You're telling me that here he goes. He thinks that white people specifically hate blacks. White people specifically hate blacks. It doesn't matter. And then when I told him, and then he turned around and he said, "Well, everybody ain't black." He went to asking me my heritage. Well, was your aunt was your great grandmother on a slave ship? I said, I don't care. Probably, I don't know. Just because you brown like me, that don't mean you was a slave. They want you people like black folks like to let you think that. But everybody that looks African American wasn't a slave. And then we agreed on that. Yeah, that's because they're not our people. Okay, fine. They're not our people. Then he went to saying, oh, there's Indians out there that are in prison for things because they look black. Man, get out of here. No, if an Indian did something, you can tell by his accent and what he's wearing and that he's Indian or whatever. But even if he looks black, but if he did a crime, he did the time. If he wasn't out there in crime world, whether he's black or Indian, he would have never got arrested. This guy was just making up dumb excuses as he went along. And this is the thing. Black folks are always in crime world. Whether it be, our man who was like, stealing cigarettes or, whatever, whether it be, and then he went to talking about, Rodney King. The latest documentary on Rodney King and the latest footage says that Rodney King was armed and dangerous. And Rodney King went on a high-speed chase. And on that high-speed chase, I believe he wrecked some cars. People got hurt, maybe even killed or whatever. By the time they caught up with him, give me that club. Give me that club. This guy ain't going to have legs to drive a car anymore. Okay? I'd have beat him with a club. Don't nobody get paid to do that crap. Don't nobody get paid to deal with that crap. That's the kind of crap that makes cops quit their jobs. Crap like Rodney King. The thing is, they beat the crap out of him, then they quit their job. Then they lost their job. Some of them lost their job. Some of them just quit later on. Okay? But, Rodney King wasn't no saint. George Floyd definitely wasn't no saint. And it's funny to me how you can have 100 news programs, Democratic as well as Republican, saying the same thing. But yet black folks always have a different angle. And they try to preach that angle to me. Were you there? Were you in, what was it, Missouri? Where George Floyd was choked out? Were you there, bruh? Were you there? I wasn't there. So all I have is what they say on the news and the news. And don't get me wrong, I know news programs cover stuff up, but you know what they cover up more? They cover up more when black folks do crime. They cover up the numbers because the numbers are way higher than what you're saying they are. Okay? They're covering up just how much corruption goes on in these black communities. Okay? And, you know, I don't care. And let me tell you this. He's right. My ancestors were not on slave ships. My ancestors on my grandmother's side of the family were slave traders. They were all white. She doesn't know this. Well, she doesn't want to. She knows in part, but she never really looked into it. But my grandmother's original family, which explains why most of the people on her side of the family are Caucasian blacks. Okay? The book came in the mail, lined the DNA up and everything. My grandmother's great grandmother and grandfather were white people in the South. I'm sure they were probably slave traders. Okay, the earliest of them. I'm sure they were slave traders. I could be wrong, but they sent me a book based on my mother's actual father that I never met. That was either, I don't know who he was to my grandmother. They never talked to me about, was he one, I know my grandmother been married like 2 or 3 times, but my mother's father, okay, okay, was, you know, different than the rest of us, okay. He might have been a white man. He might have been, because my mother was, you know, light skinned. She was red bone, okay. Um, you know, I believe that my grandmother's, and that might be my actual real grandfather's side of the family. I don't know. I think my mom, because my mom and my uncle were on the same side of the family, but my aunt was from another father. And I didn't get into that. I don't really care about soap opera, but I do believe that my ancestors, my mother, my grandmother, especially, the side of the family, her mother and all her brothers and, you know, um, first cousins on her side of the family and that, my grandmother. Okay. I believe their ancestors, slave traders. Now, my aunt, she has a different father. Okay. And I believe my grandmother been married 3 times because her latest, my grandpap was not really related to any of us. He was just the last man that my grandmother married. Okay. He was African American, most definitely. He come from, he was African American. And my aunt's father, now her father was light skinned too. Okay. No, no, not, no, no, that was her husband. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's her husband. So, no, I believe my aunt's side of the family, my grandmother's younger daughter. Okay, I believe her kids were her ancestors were on slave ships. They went through the slavery ordeal. Okay, I don't have facts about her side of the family, and I'm not even sure if we're correct about mine. All I know is I don't care. But I'm not the only one Okay, either way, and she ain't the only one. They ain't the only ones. There's plenty of us. And I told this guy that. I says, everybody that's black in America didn't come here on slave ships. Some of us come from, North America, South America. You know what I'm saying? Some of us came from, you know what I'm saying? Now, from what I understand, recently, that I didn't read this in social studies, there was a documentary on YouTube. They said that when slavery happened, slavery didn't just happen to black folks in America. It was, it was on every continent where there were brown skinned people, you know what I'm saying? And while the whites was taking blacks as slaves, other people were taking blacks as slaves too, like the Indians and, well, not the Indians, but the Arab cultures and, I mean, they were doing it too. Whether they were doing it keeping up with whites or whether they started it and whites were following in their pursuit, whichever way that goes, I don't care. The point is, it's bigger than race. And it's bigger than slave ships, who's black and who's not, and, Jim Crow, the civil rights movement. It's bigger than all that because, I told the guy my testimony, and I'm lucky to be alive because, you know what I'm saying? And I find it hard to believe that I haven't been shot yet. If you want to tell me that white cops have an agenda to just kill as many blacks, is what he said, as they can. And they're using, oh my God, this is so lazy. They're using, and then he went to justifying thuggery. Well, just because, well, they ain't got no right to be shooting, okay? Just because black folks commit crime and they're getting pulled over for drugs and blah 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 blah. That ain't no reason to shoot. I'm thinking, and I didn't tell him this, but I'm thinking, here we go. Like, why do black folks have to be there? God Almighty knows that all the times that I've been pulled over have been for simple traffic violations. I've had cops raid my house thinking that I was somebody else. We're both black. We're both short. We both was driving Cutlass Supreme, a blue, sky blue Cutlass Supreme. Mine looked better than his. Mine was a better year than his. Okay, but when they finally caught up to this brother, me and this brother looked like we could be related. And I'm not talking about just because we black, but because we both were short. The only thing is he had dreadlocks, and I've always been short haired. Okay, always been bald. Ever since I was 20 some years old. Okay, you know what I'm saying? They had the wrong guy, and I was older than him too. Okay, but the thing is, um, he surrendered when they finally caught up to him. He didn't resist arrest or whatever. He laughed in their face while they put the cuffs on him, but he was very humble about it. Up in another face, but when I got to my house, man, my wife at the time, she was trying to. She told me, "I'll let them know you're pulling up. Don't come in the house." Because there must have been 7 cops there to get me. And she told them, he's coming in the door right now. So when I walked up to the door of my house, the officer walked out of my house, said, "Can I see driver's license and registration?" Okay. And they went and looked at my car. They realized that my license plate didn't match up to, and so they made me stand there while they called it in and all like that. They already had a warrant to go in my house and everything. Now, they didn't really ransack my house. They went in there and asked my wife a bunch of questions. And then one stayed in the house and watched the door. And the other one And there was like a bunch of them around the house. There must have been about 5 to 7 cops here. I got there. There was about 4 or 5 police cars out in front of my house. Okay. After all I've been through with cops, and I've had cops go as far as to talk to me about my black A. Okay. I told you that in another video a while back. Okay. But I've never been in a predicament where a cop would even put his hand on his gun around me. Wait a minute. There was a traffic stop where cop was walking up and he told me to roll the window down. And I tried to reach for my driver's license and registration before I rolled the window down. And he grabbed it. He walked up and grabbed his gun and backed up. He didn't pull it out. He had it like this. And he's like, "Hey!" He started screaming at me. He said, "Hey, did I not tell you? Roll your window down." I said, I was getting my driver's license and registration. Okay. And after all that, they didn't even give me a ticket. You know, I'm going to give you a warning. Not only is your plate expired and you got a tail light out, but your inspection stickers are outdated. I don't want to see this car on this road again until you get all your colors, okay, and all your numbers right. Do you understand me, young man? I was like, all right, next time I will have to arrest you. And he walked off. And the other person was standing behind on the right side back, okay, back door with his hand on his pistol, you know. But I've been, and it's all been traffic. It's never been anything serious. I've had cops come around me and, you know, because I was sitting at the scene of a crime and I didn't know it. Me and my cousin or whatever, and they're like, "What's in your hand?" So we open our hands, we got nothing in our hands, and what's in the bag, um, you know, and then they would ask us a bunch of questions. Did you see some guys over here smoking weed? And I told them, I was honest with them. Don't mean to be a snitch, but I was honest with them. I said, well, I do smell weed. And there were some guys here when we got here. When we got here, they walked off, and I had to subscribe. They're black jeans, black torn jeans, a hoodie, and all like that. You know, one went this way, one went that way. Um, well, thank you very much, sir. You've been very helpful. You know, they're allowed to ask me questions. I'm not allowed to ask them questions. But and I'm not allowed to tell them any answers that they don't ask me for either. I'm used to that. Okay, I'm not going to yell Black Lives Matter over that. Okay, but one thing me and this guy did agree with on the bus was that Black Lives Matter is a scam. He said he agreed with me. He said the words right out of my mouth. Black Lives Matter don't matter to Black Lives Matter. He said the words right out of my mouth. And I said, you're one of the only people I know, black folks that I know, that have been honest about that. He said, yeah, but they got a right to riot. They got a right, oh my God, they got a right to protest. I said, even when the protests lead to riots, well, why do you think they're rioting, sir? Why do you think we have to go to the streets to get justice? I said, did you get justice by going to the street? No, you didn't. Now, did you? By this time tomorrow, you'll be trying to get justice again because somebody got shot tonight or somebody got shot tomorrow. It's not helping anything. And we're the only ones out there holding up traffic and acting a fool. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. I'm an American. I didn't come here to be black. I came here. I'm here to be an American. He said, you didn't come here. Oh, so you didn't. So now, I shouldn't have said that. So you didn't come here on slave ships now, did you? I said, I don't know, dude. And I don't care. And I don't think you should care. Because look, you got a good job. You got a good family. Why are you bitching, man? Why are you complaining? Okay? Trust me, if it was really about annihilating black people, okay, I think they've had enough time to do it already. But a lot of stuff that we blame the white man for, the white man ain't putting a pistol down our mouth and making us do it. We do it because we want attention. We do it because we think that, the white man owes us something. And he don't owe us anything but our freedom. Okay? And then he said the one thing, and I'm closing. He said, well, ain't no white man ever gave me nothing. Okay? And I says, so you're telling me that um, no white people had anything to do with you getting your job. No white people looked at your application and said, oh, I accept this guy. He said, well, it's always been like that. No, it hasn't. I remember in my time, depending on the business that you went to, white folks will take your application and throw it behind their back in 2 seconds. And they looked at you, and sometimes they were honest with you. What made you come in here? Why are you coming here? This was just 30, 40 years ago. Times have changed, not only between, the civil rights movement and the time that I came onto the planet, but it's changed between now and a time I've lived was living a better life. My mother sold Amway. And I told you before how my mother had all these white people in our house because she sold Amway and all like that. Me and my mother lived in a condo. Okay? And my mother, and this guy wouldn't let me tell him the story. I says, my mother, and this is where I really pissed him off, where he began to get pissed off. My mother never had a conversation with me about racism. I've seen her have conversations with my grandmother about racism because my grandmother was always moaning and groaning about having to stand behind some white person in the line at the drugstore. But I says, my mother never had a conversation with me about any racism or about white people or about the civil rights movement or slavery or none of that. And I thank God she didn't. Oh, and this guy was like, oh. Well, she don't need to. It's right in front of you and all this kind of crap. I says, my mother had all these people in our house when I was just a kid. Okay? I'm sure that when I came out of the womb on the day of my birth, I'm sure them white nurses, and my mother did tell me about it, them white nurses wouldn't put me down. She had to ask for her baby back. They would not put me down. And I was a very sick baby too, and they had put me in one of them incubator things or whatever. My dad said I was like a fish in a fishbowl. Okay. But from the from the time that I was a child to the time that my mom showed me that she didn't mind me dating white girls when she tried to hook me up with the candy striper girl who was the youngest member of the nursing team. She was a nurse's aide. And she used to love to come in my room when I was, all bandaged up because I spent a lot of time in the hospital as a kid because of chronic nerve damage in my ears, okay? She would tell everybody, in my family, my grandmother and everybody, how a little 15-year-old candy striper girl had a crush on me when I was just beginning to be like, I was about 2 years younger. I think I was like 13. She was like 15 or something, you know. And she would come in and she would fluff my pillows and stuff. And she would like to hang out in my room and listen to me and my mom's conversation. And my mom would like make her laugh and stuff like that, you know. Um, my mother never had a conversation. This might be why I am like I am, because my mother never had a conversation with me about racism. The only time she ever said anything about racism around me is when this white man was following me around McKeesport. And he did get arrested by white cops for following me around. Okay. And they did find out that he had put his hands on other kids. And they were white kids. But I would have been his first black victim. Okay. He was following me and I felt uncomfortable. He's a well-known child molester. Okay. And when I told my mom about it, she called her favorite police officer and he, you know, and there was some things going on back then that I wish would go on today. Like cops actually talk to black people. But again, now this is the part I didn't get to with this guy, and I'm going to shut this video down right now. I did not talk to him about detention. But well, I did talk to him about detention. I told him I can understand why white cops. I says, do you understand that black cops, okay, maybe they don't get away with it. But do you understand that there's just as many black cops being shot as white cops by black thugs? And do you understand that black cops are quicker to put their hands on a black man and you know what I'm saying? Now what's weird is that these white cops don't let a black man do it most of the time. They wanna have mercy. When a black man is about to go off on a black thug, some white sergeant comes out of nowhere and is like, all right, calm down, man. Calm down, just book him and let's move on. But this is what I'm talking about. And I'm gonna say it again how I said it to him. I don't get up in the morning and look in the mirror and say, I'm black. Get ready for BS. Okay? I don't get up in the morning and remember stories of slavery because I wasn't there. And remember Jim Crow because I wasn't there. And I told this man this, and this really pissed him off. I said, why? I said, I wasn't there. You black, ain't you? Oh, dude, come on. I wasn't there. I don't want to feel that pain. Why should I conjure up what my ancestors went through? They don't want me to feel that pain, bruh. I don't need to imagine slavery. I don't need to keep bringing it up like it's a daggone religion. I need to catch up to the fact that I am an American and that the color of my skin, like the color of anybody else's skin, don't apply. What applies is like you driving this bus, your work ethics, your attitude, how well you help other people, your service, your patriotism. That's what counts. It doesn't matter about the color of your skin. And if white people are wrong for making color an issue, don't you think that also applies to us? We shouldn't be making it an issue either. And see, a white man wouldn't sit there and drive the bus and call another white man from the back of the bus and say, "Hey, man, you know what I'm saying? Did you see that stupid George Floyd statue that they just put up? Did you see that new? Did you see did you hear about they're going to protest tomorrow? The Black Lives Matter going to be in Shady Side marching tomorrow. Did you hear about that? You know what I'm saying? White folks don't do that most of the time, not in public, okay? But and this is the closing right here. There was a white man that got on the bus, and when he got on the bus, I'm so glad that he understood that it's not us, it's him. I hate when white people think I'm, playing a race card when I'm not. This guy's pulling me into it, but this white man that got on the bus clearly knew who was playing a race card, and he said, "Hey man, I just want to say, this is my stop." He said, "Hey man, I just want to say to you, God bless you." And in my neighborhood up here, we have blacks, whites, Napoleons. We have Spanish people. We have Indian. He says, and we all get along. We all have cookouts together. We go to each other's house for cookouts and everything. He says, "Yeah, but all of them people ain't my people, and I don't give a darn about no Indians and blah 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 blah." He said, he threw his hand at him, and walked off, and I just bust out laughing. Okay, um, I just bust out laughing. And I could tell he felt real stupid um, when the guy got off the bus. Um, so when I got off the bus, he was talking. I'm trying to get off the bus. He's still talking. I turned around and said, "Hey, brother, it was nice talking to you. God bless you. Jesus loves you, man." And that was it. Because clearly, um, he needs to let it go. And don't talk to me about racism. Don't talk to me about George Floyd and all these different things until you let it go. When you let it go, I says, you know what? I don't get up in the morning looking at my, life and feel that I'm going to have a bad day just because I'm black. I said when I get up in the morning, I already said that, but you know, I says I don't care. I don't care. This is what I said. I said I don't worry about racism to somebody attacks me in some kind of way and they tell me to my face that it was because of the color of my skin. I said, okay, that particular person, I could say that he's racist. I'm not going to say the whole white race is racist or any other whatever race he was. I'm not going to say they're all racist because they're obviously not. But I'm saying I deal with racism when real racism happens to me, and I deal with it with the individuals that caused it. I'm not going to hate all cops, and I'm not going to hate all white people or any other race. And I says we don't need to defund the police. He says, but we do need police reform. I says, I agree with you 100, but we do not need to defund the police. We need to refund the police. And we need to put the cops that are struggling, we need to give them a boost up. We need to support them because no matter what is at fault, we need our police officers. Okay. And, he went on and on and on and on about, these cops are out of control and, what I'm saying, but it's amazing to me in closing. And I know it's late, but, I had to get this out of my system. It's amazing to me that he carried that burden from the time he left his house this morning, hearing about George Floyd and the other cops and whether they were getting, they're still debating whether they need to put them behind bars or suspend them from their jobs or whatever. He carried that. This is what I'm talking about, black folks. He carried that with him the whole day. He carried that with him. Okay? And then he couldn't wait for one black brother to get on that bus by himself so he could preach. And he wasn't there to vent on me and let me know his frustrations. He was trying to put this narrative in my mind that we're victims of racism, and anyone that doesn't agree with him is not a real African American. He's not really black. Okay? And he sat there right in front of this white man. This white man sitting there and listened to him. He said, I don't give a damn about no white people and all like that. I care about the black people that are being abused in this country. I said, what about the ones that ain't? Because all of them ain't. I ain't. I'm not being abused by anybody. And I says, you need to count your blessings, bro. I'm counting my blessings. Again, one more time. I don't get up worrying about the color of my skin. I get up worrying about DeRoy Cruz. My name is DeRoy Cruz. And I wanted this white man that was sitting behind me to hear it. Okay? But I don't get up in the morning and worry about the color of my skin. I worry about DeRoy Cruz and being your life applications officer. Because that is what God has called me to do. God has not called me to free the slaves. Okay? He's called me to free the captives that are in the devil's hold. And these captives are white, black, and every other race in America and around the rest of the world. Okay? That's my calling. To free the captives from the stupidity of the secular world. Okay? Everybody, not just black folks. So, and everybody will listen to me before black folks ever will. Bet that. But God bless you, DeRoy Cruz, your life applications officer, signing off. This is the last video I'm going to do on this series. Thank you for watching. I hope you watch the whole video and leave a good comment. I appreciate it. Talk to you later.